what's going on? And before I get into this next video, I just want to say thank you for for people that are tuning into my channel, checking me out, watching my videos, and I appreciate that. And I still got more videos coming up planned shortly, and I'm going to continue on doing what I always love doing, is streaming. So that's what I'm going to do. And don't worry, I got more coming up shortly. So this is Drake versus Michael Jackson. To be honest, I be hearing rumors, hearing things about Drake claims himself to be better than Michael Jackson. And before I, say my thoughts, I just want to get right on to the end. So let's hear it.
Well, is Drake really better than the king of pop, Michael Jackson? Well, that's what the media, the fans, and even perhaps Drake seems to think. What's good, Rizzle fam? Today we're going to get into the wild comparison that the media is making and how legit it really is. You see, Drake already got a lot of press with his album coming out in the middle of the release of Dump. Just as everyone thought he was taking on one of the kings of rap, he starts to overtake the king of pop. That's right, he's drawing comparisons to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson needs no introduction. Nobody needs tons of background here, but, let's talk about some of his records. Let's start out with Thriller. When the album came out, it was the very first album in history to spawn 7 whole top 10 singles. I mean, that's pretty huge. The album that came out after that broke yet another record. Bad spawned 5 number 1 singles for the first time in the world's history. Flash forward to around the time MJ died. The dude broke even more records. He was the first artist to sell 1 million digital downloads. He absolutely smashed the record by selling 2.6 million downloads the week after his death. Drake, in comparison, isn't a music industry lightweight either. He's been pretty consistently outselling a lot of people in the game. When it comes to rap sales, there's pretty much no one who can touch Drake. He's had 10 number 1 albums on the Billboard 200 and 9 number 1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. He's also the top-selling artist of all time in terms of digital downloads, which is actually huge considering he sold over 160 digital downloads over the course of his career. But MJ is one of the greatest of all time, and we're not just talking about musicians here. We're talking about pop culture icons, and MJ's reach was worldwide, truly global. He was one of the last people to have fans running after him everywhere like the Beatles did. That's a level of fame Drake hasn't matched and probably can never match if we're being honest. Maybe we're being a little too harsh on Drake, though, because while he doesn't have hordes of fans following him, that doesn't really happen anymore anyway. Instead, he has tons of reporters following his every move, watching where he's going and what he's doing at all times. The man has no room to breathe. In fact, when he rented out a whole stadium for his date with Joanna Leia, there was a helicopter pilot who somehow managed to snap a pic. Maybe dude really does have some fame like that. But what did the fans think? Well, to back up a point we made earlier, one fan made an observation that's definitely true. In their day, the Beatles and Michael Jackson were famous all over the world. Drake, outside the United States, is totally irrelevant. Nobody knows even 2 of his songs, even in this globalized age. And that is a huge part of the equation. It's one thing to be really well known in the US, but outside of the country, it's not like someone's going to be able to pick Drake's face out of a group photo every time. Meanwhile, if you show someone just a silhouette of MJ in his trademark pose with the hat on, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, see, they're going to be able to tell you exactly who that is immediately. The whole thing doesn't just have to be one or the other, though. One fan presented a pretty reasonable take saying, I like Drake, but he's not had an album that spent 37 weeks at number 1 and finished as the top seller 2 years in a row like Michael Jackson did with Thriller. Drake is definitely getting up there, but at the same time, he has a good distance to go before he's on par with Mike. Another fan kind of called out how music media has been trying to hype up Certified Lover Boy by pointing out, but will you be dropping Drake's name 12 years after his death in constant comparison articles simply because you know it will bring the tripe clicks and traffic? I don't see it. It's a little cold, but it's valid. People aren't going to be talking about Drake like that anymore.
To be honest, I never heard of his new album, but once I get the time, I might hear this new album Drake did. So continue on with this.
And it's not likely that you'll hear him constantly in the grocery store. His music is big, but it just don't stick like that. As we said, that Twitter user did make a pretty good point. Certified Lover Boy has been getting tons of press all the time. There's the Donda versus CLB debate. There's all the constant buzz about Drake being the new Michael Jackson, comparing him to the Beatles, etc. Could it be possible that all of this is just a release strategy. Now, don't get us wrong. It's not a bad album or anything like that, but it's more or less just the same kind of stuff Drake has always been dropping. Maybe that's why he doesn't have the same staying power as MJ. Maybe that's why Drake ends up getting dunked on in the Twitter comments and posts about the whole thing. Michael was an artist, and he grew up making music since he was a little kid in the Jackson 5. That's definitely an advantage he has over Drake in the whole debate. It's not that Drake isn't an artist too, but with all the talk of Drake having a ghostwriter, other people producing all his beats, and all the press he gets, it's hard to take him seriously. Or at the very least, to try and put him on the same tier as Michael Jackson. Drake also has a few tricks up his sleeve when it comes to topping the charts. He has a tattoo of himself waving to the Beatles. He posted, "I'm actually Michael Jackson," on CLB, and his history on the charts from Scorpion and other albums only means that he's grabbing more hype. Maybe the biggest tactic Drake used had nothing to do with his influences, though. He dropped singles from mixtapes before the release of CLB, but of course, he didn't include any of those on the album. He could have if he wanted to, but he didn't, and that's for a very specific reason. He wanted to make sure that he didn't drop any hints about what the album would sound like to build more hype. If people hadn't heard any of the singles or didn't even know what they were going to be, that gives them a few advantages. Using this method, it's more likely that people will listen to the album all the way through because they don't have a song or two that they already like. He also knows that the whole of the music industry will be writing articles about who might be featured on the album, only giving it more press. He also made sure that he hit the promos hard after delaying the album a couple of times. That means he had more time to fine-tune everything, add more features, and make the album as good as it could possibly be before the release of the album. He put up billboards in the hometowns of all his features as a promotional move, and it worked. Everyone was talking about him, and it feeds back into everyone trying to figure out who was going to show up on the album. He also really made sure to drop the album at the same time as Donda, which means that they'd be compared. Think about it. This is one of Kanye's biggest albums in a long time, especially since it's his 10th. He also did the whole move of doing all the listening parties, living in the stadiums, and all of that. It was free hype for Drake. With all the press surrounding Donda, Drake knew that he would get a piece if he released it around the same time, right in the middle of the beef. That way, even people who usually won't go out of their way to listen to Drake albums will listen. All the Kanye stans who are invested in the beef are going to listen to Donda and CLB so they can decide which they think is better. We aren't trying to diss on Drake too hard here. It's just that to even start comparing Drake to absolute legends like or the Beatles it's ridiculous. The debate should probably just stay at the level of Drake and Ye, even though big sales don't necessarily mean good music, right? Drake hasn't really talked about the comparison quite yet specifically either. Still, maybe his silence says more on the subject than if he came out and talked about it. Drake hasn't made it a secret that he's doing his best to be up there with the greats, and if he keeps going the way he's going, that might happen one day. But it seems like people don't take him seriously enough for that yet. If he does speak on it, he's probably going to agree because that's just who he is. That confidence has gotten him this far, so hey, it doesn't really hurt. Just to go ahead and settle this for good, we got a couple of fan tweets here that point out just how big MJ was in comparison to Drake. This isn't a live show. This is the view of a hotel room Michael Jackson stayed in. With the tweet is a video of MJ in a hotel balcony greeting what looks like in comparison to Drake. This isn't a live show. This is the view of a hotel room Michael Jackson stayed in. With the tweet is a video of MJ in a hotel balcony greeting what looks like tens of thousands of fans. Another fan made an important observation on the video saying, Kanye leaked Drake's address and nobody even came, and y'all saying he bigger than Mike? That should have been huge, but no one cared enough to swarm his house. If it was MJ, people would have been lined up outside the gate. So, what do y'all think, man? Is he actually on par with the king of pop, or is that all just cap? Let us know what you think down below in the comments, and don't be afraid to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Also, make sure that you ring that bell below and subscribe, and make sure you change your notification settings to all so that you don't miss out on a single piece of hot steaming rap news. And as always, have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to keep it real.
That's it. So I did say I'll give you my take on what I think. And here's my thoughts. Heck to the no. Drake better than Michael Jackson. Don't make me laugh. Like, I'm just gonna keep it, be honest. This is my opinion. Okay, Drake, he's the fresh known artist in the pop culture now, but come on, him better than Michael Jackson? No. He ain't. There ain't no way, and no way necessary. Drake is better than Michael Jackson. Like if you look at Michael Jackson's history, because I got a couple of Michael Jackson songs on my phone, and I can tell you straight up, Michael Jackson is a legend in pop culture. If you watch his last concert, 30th anniversary, you can definitely know every artist was singing all Michael Jackson songs. There were features with 98 Degrees, Luther Vandross, rest in peace to Luther Vandross, rest in peace to him. There was a lot of people. If you watch that concert, you can see there was a lot of artists singing Michael Jackson songs. Usher, Eva, Whitney Houston, rest in peace to Whitney Houston. Like they were singing all Michael Jackson songs, all of them. Jackson 5, the Jacksons was there, yes. The Jacksons was there, and you can honestly tell how much impact that concert had and how much Michael Jackson's life was. Because Michael Jackson made tons of albums, and people gotta understand, it's not about how many songs you saw, it's about what brought in the culture of pop or what music genre you have. It ain't about how much you sold or how much you. It's just you pretty much made a lot of albums, even though after your death, you are still relevant. You are still well known to the pop culture, and that is the reason why Michael Jackson will always be the king of pop. He's a legend. Drake, let's be honest. Drake, I mean, I get it. He's doing his thing with the songs and all that, but deep down, he's nowhere near the level of Michael Jackson yet. And the Beatles, it's just people talk. It's just people talking, or that's just Drake trying to act like he's the new Michael Jackson. I'm like, no way. He is not the new Michael Jackson. If you think that he's better than Michael Jackson, then you don't know pop music. You don't know the history between artists that came way back then before these new artists came in now. Like if you look back in the history of what Michael Jackson put on in pop culture, that you definitely should know Michael Jackson made history at a young age. And you can see how many fans was lined up in that hotel room. That's when you know Michael Jackson, he was well known to the pop culture. Everybody knows Thriller. I just got the Thriller, and bad because I'm bad, and I'm really, really bad. Yeah, you definitely know those songs were well known and will always be well known this day and forward. Plain and simple. With Drake, the songs that he's doing now, it is what it is. I mean, Drake, I'm not gonna say Drake is bad. I mean, Drake is well known. He is. He's doing a lot of albums and he's made billboards and he's did a lot of new songs though. But at the end, him thinking that he's better than Michael Jackson because he's been on the billboards, he's been up there on the fame. Like he's like what he said right there. Reporters and the media, it's like they were very much clinging to Drake, wanting his interview, wanting his comments, telling him it's like, nah, man. Even though people were stalking him, but at the end of the day, Drake and Michael Jackson, there is no comparison. Okay, Michael Jackson is a legend. He will always be the legend to this day and forward. And if you disagree on me with that, then I don't need to hear, oh, but you're a Drake hater. Oh, you ain't from. I have a couple of Drake songs on my phone, okay? And I still listen to Drake, but I don't listen to them that well. But still, I'm sticking with the basics and what I think that is minority true. Okay, Michael Jackson is a legend. Okay, he will always be a legend. He's the king of pop. Okay, Michael Jackson. Now, rest in peace to the great pop icon. He is a legend. The Beatles, they're legends too. So, nope, Drake is not better than Michael Jackson. He's not. He's not better than Michael Jackson. So I'll just leave it at that. So there you have it. There was my response. Michael Jackson is an icon. He's a legend. So therefore, there you have it. So you got that. You understand it now. Hold on 1 second.